Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. On tonight's verses, we have Ardbeg Single Malt Scotch Whisky coming in at a 46% ABV, at least 10 years old, versus Laphroaig Single Malt Scotch Whisky coming in at a 43% ABV, at least 10 years old. Now, this is the battle of the lifetime, and to be honest, I'm just going to pull away the veil. I don't think we're going to be able to actually pick a true winner here overall. Both of these are phenomenal sips, but kind of take this as a learning point. If you're getting into scotches, you're kind of interested on why you should pick one over the other from your personal preferences, what's going on with that? So we're not necessarily going to be picking a winner here because I'm a big Ardbeg fan. I also love my Lagavulins. I also love my Laphroaigs. Lagavulins are over there. I'm pointing the wrong direction. Nonetheless, they're both great sips. But we're just going to kind of sit back, talk about them a little bit, and if you see these on the shelves and you're curious about getting into them, what you might expect. Sound fair enough? I hope so, because I can't hear you. Let's get into it. And as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hang around for a bit, become a member if you'd like. If you're interested in some individual reviews over these, they'll be linked up above and down below. As you see, again, I love my smoky scotches. They were a very big point in my journey of spirits in general. My first pour of a smoky scotch was Ardbeg, and I fell in love with them, as you can see. And my wife is a big Laphroaig girl, so I respect it. It keeps us sane. But again, both are wonderful. Based upon color, your Laphroaig here is definitely got a darker hue to it than the Ardbeg, and by a good amount too. 46% both 10 years old, but boy oh boy, the Laphroaig is seriously darker. All right, let's start on notes for the Ardbeg. See, and I love that nose. It comes across kind of lemon zest and the smoke, the peat, the earthiness going on here. And as you keep just kind of going back to the glass, it gets smokier and smokier. Get that ashy note going on. Almost like fired, you get your embers left over after a campfire. Kind of smoldering effect going on. But the big thing for me Ardbeg brings across is that lemon zesty note. It's a little fresh, it's vibrant, and it brings across that bit of sweetness that you're wanting to kind of cut back a bit on the smoky elements. Get that pepperiness in there. It goes slightly savory, but not quite all the way, but it's close. You get a little bit of the oak impact going on as well, a little charriness from that. Bit of sweet vanilla going on, and that slightly little bit of spiciness that some scotches can bring across. It's gorgeous. No ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes. Just really inviting, and it packs a punch, especially if you're not used to scotches. Alrighty, let's go for notes on the Laphroaig. Boy, oh boy, and every time I go back to Laphroaig, man, it pulls me closer and closer to being more on their side of things. Here, you're getting a little bit more of that iodine and kind of more medicinal smoke versus the campfire earthy smoky here on the Ardbeg. And that's the best way to say it. It's the petrichor, if I remember right. Like, it's the wet asphalt on a hot summer day. Like, it's been scorching hot, and then all of a sudden it cuts loose rain, and you get that smell of the wet rain on asphalt. And that's what comes across here. The smoky elements aren't quite as rich in depth and peppery that the Ardbeg has, but a little sweeter, a little more orchard sweet going on in here. More zestiness. For today, my brain wants to say orange peel. I don't know why. Don't think I've ever pulled that before. No ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes, but just as much body that the Ardbeg has. And I give that credit. Even though it's only a few proof points lower, that can sometimes make or break a whiskey. I didn't realize, I totally forgot it was only 43%, so I looked at the bottle. I was like, wow, I thought it was 46 as well. It's just so inviting, and it's a completely different nose comparatively. Here you're getting a little more earthy and more the iodine medicinal kind of elements. Here you're getting more earthy and smokiness and pepperiness, gearing more close towards a savory element. All right, let's go for a sip on the Ardbeg. That'll take you home. Beautiful smoky elements in here. The salty sea brine, and it almost stings the palate a bit. The earthy elements, the campfire smoke, like next day smoke on your clothes, lingers on the palate. And then you're getting this little wisp of that sweet and kind of tart bit of lemon going on in here. Gorgeous. Still no ABV, nothing harsh, no off notes. Just a big, impactful flavor palette going on here. Second sip, it gets a little lighter in that smoky, kind of earthy notes and goes a little sweeter. Getting a little more vanilla showing up here. The chariness from the oak casks themselves. But that salty, sea briny note is still showing up. It's gorgeously soft, yet it's got such an impact to the palate that really just makes Ardbeg a king of the smoky scotches from Islay. Alrighty, let's go for a sip on the Laphroaig. And the taste on that mimics the nose pretty close. You're getting a lot more medicinal notes. Band-Aid, iodine, a lot of people equate that too. The smoky elements are there, don't get me wrong. You're still getting that kind of next day smokiness on your clothes. But there's also a lot more sweeter elements for me today. It's really strange. But I'm getting a little bit more citrus zest going on, a little bit of orange. The saltiness isn't quite as pungent as it compared to the Ardbeg. You are still getting a bit of it, a little bit more seaweed, kind of a green, I wouldn't say green grassy, but kind of a green seaweed note. And if you had seaweed in your miso soups, things like that, kind of remind you of that kind of stuff. Not necessarily the savory side of it, but kind of that same flavor profile. That bite on my second sip, getting a little bit more of the saltiness in here. A little more earthiness. The smoky, peaty elements are starting to showcase a little bit stronger on my second sip. Still dances on the palate. Drinks a little more thin, and that's the first time I think I've ever said that. But when I've had it back to back, it goes a little more thin than the Ardbeg. Still no off notes, nothing harsh, no ABV burn, nothing like that. It's just a gorgeously soft sip. Here in the late finish, I'm getting a little bit of that spicy element. I'm just kind of sitting here letting it ride. It's just a phenomenal sip too. It's getting sweeter and sweeter. I'm really kind of digging that today. Not sure why. I like it. All right, let's talk about the winner here. And again, we're not going to necessarily pick one, but we're going to kind of break down why you might want one over the other. This is definitely a contender for one of the best 10-year single malts that you could find out there, in my opinion. I love the earthy, the smoky, the bold, brash flavors that Ardbeg brings across. They are salty and just almost, again, teeters close to savory, but not quite there. The Laphroaig here is bringing across a little more sweeter notes. You're still getting the salty, the seaweed. The big difference is here for the Laphroaig is that iodine. It comes across a little more medicinal, and that kind of petrichor, which is the rain on hot asphalt notes going on. Phenomenal sip. So either of them, when it comes to pricing, at least here in the United States, tend to float about the same, right around that $55 to $60 price point. Sometimes they go higher, of course, sometimes they go lower. But if you're looking to get into scotches, it really does come down to what kind of profile you want to start with. Do you want more earthy, bold, smoky, or do you want a little bit more of the medicinal smoky? Nonetheless, give both a try. If you're at a bar or you're looking to start buying some scotches to get into that smoky element, you can't go wrong with either. And to be honest, they're both damn good sips. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Ardbeg single malt Scotch whiskey, 10 years old, versus Laphroaig single malt Scotch whiskey, 10 years old. If you have any questions about either bottle, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific spirits I should go looking for, also let me know down below. I love doing these reviews and sharing with you the experience at home. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
You know, and I even like it might